Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Rhm Borsig Waffenträger. It's a Tier 8 German tank destroyer. It's located on the east spawn of Studzianki and it's under the command of General Anonymous. Game started. Well, this was one of the first of the dedicated support weapons, or Waffenträger, weapons carriers, that the Germans proposed to put forward and manufacture so that they could have some tank destroyers to go with their tanks. And basically it's a massive gun located on a mobile body. So it's different to an artillery. It's firing, direct firing on the enemy instead of firing in an arc like with a howitzer. But it is a very high caliber weapon, and this one, well, this one is the 128mm, which is capable of 630 alpha with the HE, and it can do 490 with the standard AP. And his first round only does 100 hit points of damage on the enemy. It's a defender, and it looks like the round actually went through the top of the turret. And that's very surprising, because we would have thought they would have done a lot more damage. Well, and another round, well, I think the reason is it's not doing a huge amount of damage because it's HE. Okay, it's loaded another HE round. The surprising thing is that studies have shown, oh, he got more that time, 233. So, but now he's loading standard AP. The thing is, they learned in studies that HE rounds was the normal rounds that most vehicles carried, because it not only could be used against tanks, but it could be used against troops and emplacements as well. And the vast majority of shots fired by armoured vehicles, or even their support vehicles, such as tank destroyers, were actually against things other than tanks. Well, it looks like General Anonymous has decided there's nothing for him to shoot at up in the north, but there's plenty to shoot at down in the south. So he's headed south. Then there's two guns that can go on this vehicle. This one, of course, is the 128mm, which is the same one that's on the Scorpion and several of the other tanks, such as the VK7501K. But you can get the 15cm gun that's normally carried by the Gorilla, but it has quite a much longer reload. This one, the reload is 9.92 seconds, but the reload for the 15cm gun is close to 20 seconds, and that's before you get any benefit from a BIA crew or a rammer or anything like that. Now he's taken up this position because it's suggested there's a Skoda T27 up on the heights in the wood above the power plant, and he's believed to be in grid square A5. In fact, that's where he's been noticed, but we can't see him at the moment because he's outside our render range. The defender's showing up. He's just inside the render range. You can see that red radius on the mini-map. We need just to get a little bit closer to see the Skoda. Now, the Borsig Waffenträger wasn't one of the tank destroyers that actually got built by the Germans. In fact, there was several put forward. This was the one from Rhm Borsig, or Rheinmetall rather, I should say. There were other ones that were put forward by other companies. Krupp's put forward one as well, and I think the Alket company did as well. Okay, there are some enemies over there, and they are very low on hit points. In fact, it does look as if most of the enemy attack stopped at the church, at the ditch, or the trench, or if that was a river or something, and some of them branched off to the north. Let's go to T27 and the Progetto, for instance. And there's now a Star 2 in the ditch. Now some more have been seen. The SU-130PM, he's right on the edge of the ditch. But he's moving this direction and... oh, he's been killed! We're 2 tanks up on the enemy at the moment. But the only damage we've got so far is those HE rounds on the defender. Oh, this is a little bit better. Saying this little ridgeline here is normally where you expect to see some tank destroyers in this game. Okay, he's auto-aimed on. Puts a round into that Progetto. Nice roll, but it's still low roll. 410. And he's loading an APCR. Not sure why. He won't need it for the Progetto. In fact, none of those tanks would actually need an APCR round. The standard AP would be perfectly okay for all of them. In fact, the Defender's the only one that really might need an APCR. And that round went through. 534 high roll. But again, I think it's a bit overkill to load the APCR. The T27 would be severely damaged with just standard AP. Primo Victoria is right at the edge of our view range. There's the Skoda. And he ricochets off him. And again, he's still loading the APCR. Wrong round. It's going to cost him. The Defender's the absolutely only enemy out there that he would need to load APCR for. But I don't think even that would be necessary, because I think the standard AP would go through the Defender so long as he aimed it at the weak spots. Either the lower plates or the cupolas. Or in the case of the Defender, well, just hitting that plate just above the gun would be enough. Defenders come most of the way through the power plant. Right, the Skoda might try to run for it now because he's about to get assaulted by our Skoda. Oh, and he's gone. Okay, that's good. Right, there's a Primo Victoria to the north and the Defender still in the factory area, but he has come out now. So now we've got a shot on the Defender. Well, he tracked that Victoria. Unfortunately, he's used his repair kit and moved out. There are walls in between us and that Defender at the moment, but not between us and the Victoria. And that's a high roll. Again, he's still loading the APCR. He doesn't need it. He can just do it with standard. Standard AP will be enough. Defender's a one shot. Only 15 hit points. Here comes the Defender. Easy kill. He wasn't seen, The Primo's to the north, so the trees covered him, and there goes the Primo. So he's now one of two left on his team, and they're facing three opponents. And that's from the Arty, the GW Tiger P, so they must have guessed where he was and indicated that on the mini-map to their teammates, and the GW took a swing. He didn't get a direct hit though, it was only 162 hit points, so that was a near miss, a splash. If it had been a full hit, he probably would have lost most of his health in one shot. The Borsig is quite a weak-skinned vehicle, it's got very light armour, and a direct hit from a GW Tiger would have been absolutely catastrophic. Well, he's just lost his teammate, the M40, M43, and he's now all alone against three opponents. But he's changed bushes, so even if the enemy was to fire at him right now, they probably wouldn't get him. There's the Scorpion, puts one in, needs to pull back. See, the Scorpion did fire in this direction, and I wonder if he's got sixth sense. Well, he's taken out the Scorpion, so there's only two opponents now, the Striv and the GW Tiger P. He needs to get below this ridge line temporarily just to lose contact. Okay, they're indicating that the Striv's in the south. T28 mentioning that's where he is. Last seen on the minimap in K2, K3. The Arty, I think, is probably somewhere on the 1 line. But if he was a good Arty player, he'd probably already be moving and trying to come in this direction. Not just so he can shorten the distance between him and his opponent, but also so he gets a faster reaction time. The closer you are, the more likely the shell will hit the target. Oh, and here comes the Striv. Puts a big round in, but we're going to get hit in return. And the GW now knows where we are. And, yep, so we don't have sixth sense here. That's obvious. He puts another one in. Now ram him. Get some ram damage off him. He's trying to push him, but this is a very slow vehicle. Took a round from the Arty and took a round from the Striv. He's been stunned. Finishes off the Striv. Now he needs to get off this ridgeline quick. As fast as he can. It's not a fast vehicle, but... okay, now he needs to hunt down that GW. And I'm pretty sure he's over in enemy territory. We did lose a lot of hit points during that engagement. There's no doubt about that. Over 400 hit points. But I believe we do have the advantage now. The GW Tiger P is one of the slowest of all of the Arties in the game. It really is almost painfully slow. And that's the 2-minute warning, so we're going to have to get over to the other side of the map and get into the cap as quickly as we can. Because in 10 seconds time, if we don't get in that cap, we will not be able to cap out and we will have to hunt down the GW Tiger P, or it will be a draw. Now, it's at moments like this that you wish you carried some rounds of HE spare. But I think you can get a one-shot kill with the standard AP. So, I don't think you'd be too worried about that. I'd go straight ahead and I wouldn't worry about waiting here just to spot that GW. If he is waiting in ambush, it's going to be somewhere in those bushes. But we're not going to be able to spot him if we don't get across there. And there's only 1 minute to go. They think he's up in grid square E1. And I think that's a reasonable conclusion. A lot of RT do tend to go to that spot. It's not the only spot we go to. I know that as an RT player. I pick many spots along the 1 line. And sometimes I'm not even in the 1 line. And sometimes I move even further away from it. But that's probably the logical place to start looking. And he's only got 27 seconds now to find that GW Tiger P to win this game. I hope he didn't waste too much time sitting in the bush. And he's found him! Lock on and takes the win. His team will be happy about that. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And it's an ace tanker for General Anonymous in the Rhm Borsig Waffenträger. And in fact, actually, it's his very first ace tanker because it's got the scrolls underneath the M. And that's you only get that on the first one. He also managed to get a fire effect, a fighter badge, a sharpshooter, a master gunner, a duelist, and a bruiser medal. Out of the minor medals, out of the epic ones, he picked up a high caliber for dealing the most damage in that battle overall. Managed to get 5 kills, just one short of getting the top gun, but I'm sure he'll be quite happy with the win. 7,748 was the win 8. Let's have a look at team score. Okay, well, 4,242 hit points during that game. Yes, got him the ace tank at the high caliber and an ace tanker. The next highest scorer was Scorpion G on the enemy team with 3,535, and after that was the Striv S1 with 2,834, and he managed to get a tank sniper. He managed to get the highest number of kills in the game, 5 kills. The Striv managed 4, and the Skoda T27s on both teams managed to get 3 kills apiece. And when it came to base XP, he managed to get the highest one on that as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,323 base experience points, 1,098 goes to the Type 59, and 945 goes to the 50 TP. He fired 16 rounds, got 16 direct hits and 11 penetrations. Good accuracy, but the problem was that some of the rounds he fired, well, they didn't do a whole lot of damage, and they just impacted on the surface of the tank. That was referring to the shots against the defender. He did splash damage on 3, those were the HE rounds, and did damage of 4,242 hit points, of which 1,770 were up more than 300 meters. He received 2 hits from the enemy. Both of them were penetrations, and both came from that Striv. And he also received 2 hits by way of splash damage from the GW Tiger P. He spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 5, and on a free-to-play account earned 35,910 credits. But as I said, he did fire that APCR when he didn't need to, and as a consequence he actually lost a lot of credits on that. He ended up with loss for the entire game of 32,352 credits, and even if he'd had a premium account, he still would have lost credits up to the tune of 14,397. So it really was a case of better to fire the AP round and just keep the APCR if you come across an opponent you can't penetrate normally. And I think he could have penetrated most of the tanks that are on that battlefield with just standard AP. He picked up 1 bomb for getting the high caliber, and 1,223 base XP, 1,500 for completing the mission, 2,723 experience points altogether. So he says, wearing the carry pants. Well, he did in this one. He actually pulled it out of the bag for his team. Unfortunately, they all tended to die off rather quickly. His Arty was sitting at the back and a bit vulnerable to that Scorpion. He should have probably moved from the position he was in to a safer position, and he didn't, and as a consequence he got wiped out and then left it all to General Anonymous to carry the team. And he did the job, he did it. He had a really good tank destroyer capable of taking out the enemy, and with that 128mm gun he made short work of them. So if you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos when they come up. We do tend to issue at least 4 a day, and if we can, and some of them are pretty good. They're not all arty, some of them tank destroyers, some of them heavy tanks, medium tanks, and a lot of them come from unicums, super unicums, in showing you exactly how you can 3-mark a tank. So thanks very much for watching.